is justice and righteousness. The King is coming. The King is coming. The King is coming. Then come the titles, wonderful, not merely impressive, astonishing, beyond ordinary expectation. Counselor, a ruler possessing wisdom, not confusion, not corruption, not folly. Wonderful. Counselor, wisdom and wonder. Then the title grows larger. The mighty God. Isaiah's language becomes extraordinary. Notice something important earlier in the book. The mighty God is a title used of the Lord himself. Isaiah is not choosing casual language. The mighty God, 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 the mighty God. Oh, then another title, the everlasting Father. Not describing confusion between persons, but describing the character of his rule. A ruler whose care endures, a ruler whose kingdom does not fade, a ruler whose authority does not expire. Everlasting, unending, faithful forever. Then comes a title many people remember, the Prince of Peace. Think back to chapter 2, the end of war, the nations at peace, the swords transformed. Now Isaiah reveals the ruler connected to that future peace. Prince of Peace, Prince of Peace, the promise continues. Oh, then Isaiah expands the vision further. The increase of his government has no end. Human kingdoms expand, then decline, empires rise, then collapse, dynasties flourish, then disappear. Kings come, kings go, his kingdom remains upon the throne of David. This matters. Isaiah ties the promise to the covenant made with David. The future ruler belongs to David's line. The promise continues through the house of David. David's call, David's promise, David's king, David's king, David's king. He establishes the kingdom with judgment and justice. Notice those words, judgment, justice. Those are exactly the things Judah lacked back in chapter 1. The faithful city lost them. This king restores them. Justice restored. Righteousness restored. The kingdom restored. Then Isaiah makes an astonishing claim. This kingdom lasts.
I'm ready. Okay, I'm gonna keep on rolling with the same similar kind of process here today. I've got let's see. I have another insight I was mulling over yesterday with the Acanto music continuum. What is it? It's the electromagnetism. It's Acanto musicism. The Acanto musicism force that we're combining together here. I have got another. I was mulling over some differences and similarities in it yesterday, so I'm going to keep on thinking about that. And then I'll try to warm up with my sliding thing again, because I'm just kind of warming up with the sliding thing. And then I'll practice the Spanish with Chatchita and Aura as I do that. I think that's going to be the main thing. So I'll start the tuning. Got my footstools kind of crooked. I got my Good to Great, the book, Good to Great as my footstool. It's a good footstool. I'm expecting it to get better, given the title. You know, it's not great yet, but I'm expecting it to improve on its performance. Let's see. Let's try to tune this thing. This whole deal with Iran seems like it almost reminds me of like a management meeting when in the time of good to great and who moved your cheese, you know. Don't worry, everything's going great. We're just going through a period of transition. It's just a period of transition here. You just have to not worry about the fact that your cheese is being moved, and everything's working great. Everything's working great. It's a period of transition. I don't know, man. I don't know. Things look a little rocky. Where are we? What are we transitioning to? Where is this? I'm not seeing the end game. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical, but whatever. Whatever. Let's see. All right. I'm just gonna get the coffee warmed up. I'm trying to do my sliding thing, so I'm sliding in to this so I can have multiple fingers. But then I'm kind of the other thing I was practicing while I'm doing the sliding thing is kind of overshooting and then going back to it. Like, so if I slide all the way from here up to like here, then I'm gonna try to practice like overshooting it and then bringing it back. So I'm gonna move out of the key. Or maybe short it and then move in. Kind of thinking like, how long can I hold it out of key before it's, yeah. Okay, so then I was also just doing, and then yesterday I was doing this thing where I have multiple fingers on the same slide. On this, like on a square bit, so I slide into it with one of these fingers, and then I follow it up with one or more of these fingers for a multiple slide. All right, and then I can do, and then as I'm thinking of that, then that leads me to think, well, like, is there other ways that I could slide up? And then, like, because here, if I slide up to there, then I could go to the one below it, and I'm still cocked and ready. The hammer's cocked and loaded on all my fingers. So you would think like I could do that. So then that leads to think, well, I mean, what would be the most like streamlined way to do that? Other ways to do that, right? I mean, if I slid up like with my middle finger from here, like, and I slid up to here, then that of course leaves my ring finger to repeat it. Or to repeat it underneath. So I could walk up the whole thing that way. So another place where that little effect might be useful is if I think about this as the Aeolian, instead of doing it on the box, so I stay in key, it's the lead tone. It's the lead tone. So I'm going home to that Aeolian out of the key because it's a minor node. And you get a little, yeah. That makes. let's try. I'm gonna try the joke in the middle before I get into the. So then I'm gonna, and then I'll do the Spanish, and then I'll talk about my. I'm gonna brainstorm. I'm gonna brainstorm. All right, the project. I'm getting close to actually working on the thing. All right, joke break. Let's see what I have here. Can't remember what I did. Okay. The music mafia trying to shut things down, man. That's what it's tough trying to put together a new music theory system out there, man. Why? Because even when you've got the truth on your side, the music mafia is brutal. They're brutal, you know? I used to think that a character assassination was just a figure of speech, maybe like an overstatement, a character assassination. I mean, come on. But not anymore, man. In fact, character assassination isn't even a strong enough term for what these people are trying to do. An assassination would be merciful for my character. It would be merciful. No, they're gonna character torture me. They put the character on the rack and slowly stretch it while the music professors standing around taking notes as they pull the character's guts out while arguing that the current naming system is perfectly adequate. Character assassin doesn't. Then they trap the character in a peer review hell for like eternity. There's apparently a character torture review board. They meet quarterly. Every meeting concludes that additional character torture is warranted. Why do they even show up? Why do they even show up? You know what they're gonna conclude? It's like then they're gonna make the character sit through 12 straight hours of people explaining why the circle of fists is already perfect and no further improvements are necessary. It's character torture. After that, my character gets sentenced to an eternity of unresolved dominant sevenths. No resolution, no tonic, just like a permanent musical tension. And then after years of character torture, they're finally gonna do the assassination, the character assassination, but they're still not done at that point. Then comes the character dismemberment, and then they cut the character up into like little pieces and then send the little gruesome pieces of the character like across the country. Every music student walks by, asks, what happened to that poor guy character that's hanging on the portal that goes into the music library, and is like the professor says he suggested a different numbering system. At this point, character assassination feels like a widely understated term, a euphemism. It's a freaking euphemism at this point. It's calling like what happened to Julius Caesar like a mild disagreement. It's ridiculous. Anyway, character assassination. I thought it was an overstatement. No, it's a euphemism. Round here. Anyway, whatever. Let's try I'm gonna try to do my music theory thing. So I last time I mapped out, I was trying to think of like what is the difference between like building a system that's like a database with music versus the accounting system, because obviously we're working on the existence of a light. It's like electromagnetism, because we combine like electricity and like magnetism because they're like one thing. But now it's like music and accounting. And so it's like accounto-musicism. We're gonna join what they really are to accounto-musicism. And then, but then I was like kind of looking at like what exactly is the thing that makes us perceive a difference between the two phenomena, which isn't actually a thing. And I think I've discovered how to convert like electricity to magnetism, magnetism to electricity, like accounting to like music, and music to accounting. I see like I think I see the missing link that has confused our understanding. And so that's what I'm going to try to further work out here. Okay, let me try to explain that to Ara, see if she I'm going to try to do it in I speak English, they speak Spanish. I'm going to try to set up my chat bots. What do I want to do? Maybe just not eight I'll do just like Spanish like in California or you know Latino American current Spanish though, but slang. See if I got to work on the slang. Sometime I should go into the Cuban Spanish in Florida or something. I think it's quite different sounding. I don't know, but I get one thing at a time. I'm going to try to see if I can get my ear used to this. So I'll try to get chat. I speak English, they speak. Okay, quiero practicar español en la forma de latinoamericanos en California, tal vez, en esta forma, no inglés, pero en esta forma de hablar. Y yo habla en inglés, tú habla en español, en esta, yo puedo practicar español. Y también hablamos de la música, teoría, y también, entiéndeme. I don't know if it's going to understand that. I don't think that made any sense, but let's see what it said. Let's see if it gets it.
Sí, te entiendo perfectamente. Tú puedes escribir en inglés si quieres, y yo te voy a responder solamente en español, usando un estilo más natural de latinos en California, informal y conversacional. Y claro que podemos hablar de teoría musical también. De hecho, ya entiendo bastante de tu sistema porque hemos hablado mucho sobre las notas, los modos, los números, los continentes, los océanos, el centro modal y la idea de que el tónico debería ser 0. Por ejemplo, si me dices en inglés, open quote, I think music theory would be easier if tonic was 0 instead of 1. Close quote. Yo te respondería algo como open quote. Pues sí, carnal, entiendo lo que dices. Desde tu punto de vista, si el tónico es el punto de referencia principal, tiene sentido tratarlo como 0, igual que en matemáticas cuando mides distancia desde un origen. Entonces los demás grados serían posiciones relativas alrededor de ese punto. Close quote. O si dices, open quote, I want to build my music system in Excel. Close quote. Yo respondería, open quote. Está interesante esa idea. Excel puede funcionar como una base de datos para la música. Podrías tener una tabla con las 12 notas, otra con los modos, y luego usar tablas dinámicas para cambiar la perspectiva entre centro modal y colección de notas. Close quote. Así practicamos español mientras hablamos de las cosas que te interesan. ¿Qué andas pensando ahorita sobre tu sistema musical? Cuéntame en inglés si quieres, y yo te respondo en español.
All right. I think she gets it. Let's try Ara. Let's turn Ara on. Ara, quiero practicar español en el forma de Estados Unidos, de California, pero no Spanglish, solo español en esta forma informal, por favor. Y también hablamos de música, teoría. Y yo hablo en inglés, tú habla en español, ¿entiende?
Claro, entiendo perfecto. Vamos a practicar español de California, bien relajado y natural, sin Spanglish. Tú me hablas en inglés, yo te respondo en español todo el tiempo. ¿Quieres que empecemos hablando de música o tienes algún tema en mente? Dime qué tipo de música te gusta o qué aspecto de teoría musical quieres practicar.
Okay, I'm going to give it my general idea here. Okay, here's my general idea for like the music thing. And it's kind of like I'm trying to think of the thing that is stopping us from realizing the unification of accounting and music as is similar to like the unification of the forces of electricity and magnetism, which have combined to be electromagnetism. Thus, I think that it's actually the same phenomenon that should be called accountomusicism. Accountomusicism. It sounds a little too close to anyway. Accountomusic, and that's what. But and so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look at the two phenomena to see how they manifest themselves to our senses, so that and I think I have determined the thing that makes us think that these two things are different, but that I can actually unify them. I can actually show that they are unified, and I'm going to bridge the gap at this time.
Vale, cuéntame más. ¿Qué conexión exacta estás viendo entre la contabilidad y la música? ¿Es algo con ritmos, frecuencias, balances o cómo se organiza la información? Dime cuál es esa clave que según tú une las dos cosas.
All right, she's starting off quite positive. She's getting better. She's on board now. I feel like she's on board. I don't know. We're moving on past the brainstorming session. We're putting this together now, man. It is what it is.
Órale, está interesante lo que estás planteando. Si entiendo bien tu idea, tú no estás diciendo simplemente que la música y la contabilidad tienen algunas similitudes. Estás proponiendo algo más fuerte. Estás diciendo que tal vez las dos son manifestaciones diferentes de una misma estructura subyacente. En otras palabras, así como la electricidad y el magnetismo parecían fenómenos distintos hasta que alguien encontró un modelo más profundo que explicaba ambos, tú estás buscando una estructura que explique tanto la música como la contabilidad. Lo primero que yo preguntaría es, ¿cuál es la unidad fundamental de información en cada sistema? En contabilidad, podría ser una transacción o un movimiento entre cuentas. En música, podría ser una nota, un intervalo o un evento musical en el tiempo. Luego buscaríamos qué tienen en común. Por ejemplo, ambos tienen categorías fijas. Ambos tienen relaciones entre elementos. Ambos tienen transformaciones. Ambos generan reportes o vistas diferentes del mismo conjunto de datos. Ambos pueden representarse en tablas. Ambos pueden analizarse mediante coordenadas. Pero también veo una diferencia importante. En contabilidad, normalmente el significado principal viene del flujo de valor. En música, normalmente el significado principal viene del flujo de tensión y resolución. Entonces la pregunta sería, open quote, ¿son valor y tensión realmente cosas diferentes? ¿O son simplemente dos interpretaciones distintas de una misma estructura matemática? Close quote. Porque si logras demostrar eso, entonces sí estarías mucho más cerca de una verdadera unificación. De hecho, cuando hablas de tus tablas dinámicas, de cambiar el centro modal, de cambiar la colección de notas, de ver los mismos datos desde perspectivas distintas, eso me recuerda más a una base de datos que a una teoría musical tradicional. Tal vez la conexión profunda no sea contabilidad-música, sino contabilidad-música, base de datos. Y la base de datos sería la estructura común que ambas están usando. Entonces la pregunta que te haría es, ¿cuál es exactamente la ilusión que crees que nos hace pensar que la música y la contabilidad son diferentes? Porque dijiste que crees haber encontrado la cosa específica que nos engaña. Esa parte me da curiosidad. ¿Qué es lo que según tú está ocultando la unificación?
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Oh no. What happened? There. Did I break something? Something has... The heck? Oh man. Something's not right here. Full screen. It like snapped onto the wrong thing. I've never seen that happen before. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Whew. I think it's fine. Okay. So here's what I have found. Okay. Okay, so I've been trying to map these two things together in terms of like mapping out the DAW system and then mapping out the accounting system. And I've run into this issue that basically the accounting system seems more linear because I have to build it from the ground up, meaning I have to build the journal entries that then compile to the general ledger, then compile to the trial balance, which then can be used to derive the financial statements. Now, I think that modern systems actually derive everything from the source document of the journal report as like one source document, but traditionally that's how we think about it. But on the MIDI system, I don't think it doesn't seem as directional. And I think that's like kind of the problem, right? Because that's why I can't really, it seems like you can't reconcile the two because because the end report to me is the MIDI roll because it has the most detail and it's mapping out things that are happening as time impacts it. So what I've been thinking of it as though that's the end report, and then it has time on the x-axis and then like MIDI roll on the y-axis, and then I can drill down on any timestamp, which would take me down to what I'm thinking of like a report or general ledger transaction, which I'm usually thinking of the thing that usually traditionally would be constructed to make the trial balance, right? Meaning I'm drilling down onto like a transaction detailed report, which would be the X on 12 axis or 12 points on the X, and then Y is the MIDI roll. And then I can imagine that this would be like kind of like the general ledger because I would have a report for each of the time intervals. So in other words, I could imagine the whole thing being constructed. If you made it within the MIDI roll, you can make a general ledger like posting all these as forms that can then be compiled into this end trial balance kind of thing, right? And then I can also do the same. It's the same kind of thing with this other with the grid, but you can also kind of think of it in the reverse standpoint as though this is like the journal entry, and then you make the reports from it, right? And so then it raises this question of directionality. Like, what's the difference? Why does there seem to be a directionality with the accounting system? So that's like the question. I think I've kind of, and is it possible for me to think about the accounting database like a DAW database and vice versa? What would I have to do to reconcile those two so that I can reconcile the accounto musicism phenomenon?
Entiendo el punto, pero lo estás complicando demasiado. La contabilidad sí es direccional porque registra hechos económicos que ya ocurrieron. No es un flujo libre como el MIDI. Un asiento contable representa algo que ya pasó en el mundo real. Vendiste algo, pagaste algo, depreciaste algo, y ese evento tiene una fecha concreta. No puedes grabar un asiento del 2027 hoy porque el evento todavía no existe. En cambio, el MIDI es una partitura digital. Es completamente flexible en el tiempo porque estás componiendo, no registrando. Por eso no tiene esa dirección obligatoria. La verdadera analogía no está entre el DAW y el sistema contable, sino entre el DAW y un presupuesto o un forecast. Ahí sí tienes libertad para mover las notas como quieras, igual que en la música. Si quieres unificarlos de verdad, pregúntate esto. ¿Qué representa el tiempo en tu sistema contable? Porque si el tiempo representa cuándo pasó, entonces siempre va a ser lineal. Si el tiempo representa cuándo planeas que pase, entonces se parece mucho más a tu MIDI roll. Esa es la diferencia fundamental. ¿Quieres que profundicemos ahí?
I think she kind of touching on it, actually. Let's see what chat has to say.
Sí, carnal, creo que ya veo dónde está el atorón. Yo diría que la diferencia no es realmente entre contabilidad y música. La diferencia es entre proceso y estado. La contabilidad tradicional se enseña como proceso. 1. Asiento de diario. 2. Mayor general. 3. Balanza de comprobación. 4. Estados financieros. Es una historia cronológica. Te enseñan cómo se construye. Pero si abres una base de datos moderna, realmente todo eso son simplemente vistas diferentes de los mismos datos. No existe un mayor general físico separado, no existe una balanza separada. El sistema guarda eventos y luego genera reportes. Entonces la dirección es una ilusión pedagógica. Ahora veamos MIDI. Tú estás mirando el piano roll y dices, x igual tiempo. Y MIDI note. Cada evento tiene atributos. Puedo hacer drill down a un instante específico. Eso ya parece una base de datos. La razón por la que no sientes la misma direccionalidad es que estás empezando por la vista más detallada. Sería como si un estudiante de contabilidad abriera SQL y viera todas las transacciones de los últimos 10 años en una sola tabla. No pensaría, open quote, diario, mayor balanza, close quote. Pensaría, open quote, aquí están los datos. ¿Qué reporte quiero generar? Close quote. Y eso es exactamente como estás viendo el MIDI roll. Entonces, intentemos una equivalencia. Contabilidad, evento base, tiempo, cuenta, débito, crédito, TIEM. T1, cash, 100, 0, T1, revenue 0, 100. Todo lo demás son reportes. Música, evento base, tiempo, MIDI, duración, velocidad, T1, sexta, 1, 90. T1, 64, 190. T1, 67. Todo lo demás son reportes. Cuando lo ves así, las dos cosas son casi idénticas. La diferencia es que la contabilidad normalmente agrega datos. La música normalmente interpreta patrones, pero ambas empiezan con eventos. Creo que donde tú estás tropezando es con algo todavía más profundo. En contabilidad, el reporte final suele ser agregado. Menos detalle. En música, el reporte final suele ser el piano roll. Más detalle. Por eso parece que van en direcciones opuestas. Pero si cambias la perspectiva, puedes construir reportes musicales agregados. Por ejemplo, conteo de notas, distribución modal, distribución cromática, centro tonal predominante, intervalos más frecuentes. Eso sería equivalente a una balanza de comprobación. Y al revés, podrías tomar la contabilidad y mostrar cada transacción en un gráfico temporal tipo DAO. Entonces mi hipótesis sería, la verdadera unificación no es open quote, diario nota, close quote, NI, open quote, mayor piano roll, close quote. La verdadera unificación es open quote, evento, vista, close quote. Todo es una colección de eventos. Todos los reportes son perspectivas sobre esos eventos. La razón por la que parecen diferentes es que la contabilidad se enseña desde el proceso de agregación, mientras que la música se enseña desde la experiencia perceptiva del resultado. De hecho, cuando hablas de que el piano roll es el estado final, yo creo que ahí está el detalle clave. Para ti, el piano roll no es el equivalente de los estados financieros. El piano roll es más parecido al libro completo de transacciones. Los estados financieros musicales todavía no los has definido. Tal vez eso es precisamente lo que estás construyendo con tu sistema de colecciones, modos, nodos, océanos y tablas dinámicas. Una forma de producir los estados financieros de la música. Y si eso es correcto, entonces accountomusicismo no sería la unión de contabilidad y música. Sería la unión de ambas como casos especiales de una teoría más general. Open quote. Una base de datos de eventos multidimensionales que pueden generar infinitas vistas mediante pivotes, filtros y agregaciones. Close quote. La contabilidad sería una aplicación de esa teoría. La música sería otra aplicación de esa misma teoría.
Whew. Man. Couldn't follow all that. Let's see. So let me just keep brainstorming. Okay, so I think the main difference is that basically I'm thinking of the trial balance as kind of like the end result, the final report that's consolidating stuff, and the MIDI rule over here. I'm kind of thinking of it as the end report, but I feel like the MIDI rule can actually be thought of like the analogy works both ways on the MIDI rule, meaning I can think of the MIDI rule as basically equivalent to the journal entries and or the general ledger, the construction forms, and then if I constructed the MIDI rule from the ground up as though it's like the journal entry, then I can drill down on any of the timestamps and get these reports, which I guess would be in that case like a filtering type of report that's filtering down by timestamp and then looking at it from different perspectives. Or I can think of it as though we built it the other way, like we built it up from each of these forms, like the general ledger, to construct the trial balance. Now, why is that? I feel like it's because the end result on the MIDI rule is to have these timestamps which are mapped out by time, and they're not consolidating the time. Whereas on the accounting side of things, we have the numbers are consolidating down, consolidating things that happened over time into one area. So if I was to equate these two things, like if I'm trying to make the trial balance like similar to reveal that it is the same thing as the music system in essence in the Accounto music Accounto musicism continuum, then if I imagined like all of the journal entries being mapped out as like a time report, but like every time or every second or every day, meaning I mapped out the columns like this. So right. So now I've got the accounts, and I map it out each time, meaning each journal entry, which would be each day or maybe each second or whatever you want to do, that there's a transaction happening is now mapped out like on a MIDI rule as the time is mapped out, which is kind of interesting because now I have at least two events happening every point, which is almost like a journal, like a chord almost every time. Meaning if I numbered these accounts like 1 through 7 to say that we're playing like, and those represent modal node numbers, right? Instead of 12, I'm just going to pick the accounts that are in the collection. Then this would be making like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then these are all 7, meaning account types. These are all account types, right? And then so this would be like me playing Ionian and then 6 or whatever, right? Or if I just use these account types, right? 1, 1, 1 assets, 2 is a liability, 3's owner's equity, 4's revenue, and there's only 5. I'm playing a pentatonic scale, right? But I'm just gonna name these as nodal points. So Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, and Mixolydian. Then when I make a journal entry for checking and revenue, I would be playing the Ionian node and the Lydian node. And then when I make a journal entry to pay checking, I would be playing a chord that would be the Ionian node and the Mixolydian node, all right? The 1 and the 5, if you want to think about it like that. And then if I paid expenses again, 1, 1 and the 5, and then so now I have the time. So now I have it broken out like a MIDI rule, and now the same thing applies. Meaning now you can imagine that I do the data input like this, like it was one giant adjusted trial balance, which all the journal entries are broken out this way. And so now it could go either way. Like I could use this as the endpoint of data input, or I could build it from the general ledger up to this, but I would just be repeating this data, or I can take each of these time slots down to the journal entry. Each of these time slots are now a journal entry, right? That's the link, man. That's the link that completes the accounto musicism continuum. You can also do it
Vale, te sigo.
go ahead.
Vale, lo que te iba a decir es que esa idea de expandir el trial balance a lo largo del tiempo tiene sentido, pero solo funciona si piensas en él como un histórico, no como un consolidado final. Si cada columna del tiempo representa un momento específico y cada cuenta es un nodo musical, entonces lo que estás creando es básicamente una partitura donde cada entrada contable es un acorde. La vertical es el balance en ese instante y la horizontal es el flujo del tiempo. El problema que todavía tienes es que la contabilidad tradicional no quiere que veas el trial balance como una partitura. Quiere que lo veas como un snapshot consolidado en una sola fecha. Esa es la parte que rompe la analogía. Si lo que buscas es esa fluidez, tal vez deberías estar trabajando con el flujo de efectivo en vez del trial balance. El cash flow sí se mueve en el tiempo de forma natural, igual que la música. ¿Quieres que sigamos por ese camino o prefieres quedarte con la idea de los nodos musicales para cada cuenta?
All right. She seems a lot more on point today. She's on board. Let's see what chat says. Chat's going to talk for hours.
Sí, compa, y creo que acabas de identificar algo importante. Lo que yo escucho no es solamente una analogía entre música y contabilidad. Lo que estás haciendo es cambiar la unidad fundamental de observación. Tradicionalmente, contabilidad, tiempo secundario, cuenta, aqua principal. La balanza agrupa por cuenta. Entonces, vemos cuenta, saldo, efectivo, 10,000, ingresos 8,000, gastos 5,000. Toda la dimensión temporal desaparece. Pero en un DAO, música, tiempo igual principal, nota igual secundaria. Entonces vemos tiempo, evento, T1, CSH, T2, D, T3, GBD. La dimensión temporal permanece visible. Lo interesante es que tú estás diciendo, open quote, ¿qué pasa si tomo la contabilidad y no elimino el tiempo? Close quote. Entonces aparece un piano roll contable. Algo así, tiempo, activo, pasivo, capital, ingreso, gasto. Lo que me parece una X. Ahora cada fila es un evento. Y de repente la contabilidad empieza a parecer música. Lo que me parece todavía más interesante es esta observación. Open quote. Cada asiento contable es realmente un acorde. Close quote. Porque un asiento nunca toca una sola cuenta. Siempre toca varias cuentas simultáneamente. Por ejemplo, Dr. Cash Care Revenue, eso es un evento simultáneo. En términos musicales, nota 1, nota 4, sonando al mismo tiempo. Un acorde. Entonces fíjate lo que ocurre. En música, las notas individuales son menos importantes. Los acordes y relaciones son más importantes. En contabilidad, las cuentas individuales son menos importantes. Las relaciones entre cuentas son más importantes. Eso es una similitud bastante profunda. Y creo que aquí está el descubrimiento que te está apareciendo. La balanza de comprobación no es equivalente al piano roll. La balanza es una agregación. El piano roll es un registro de eventos. Por eso la comparación siempre se siente rara. Una comparación más directa sería música, contabilidad. Evento MIDI, asiento de diario, piano roll completo, diario completo, agrupación por nota, mayor general, distribución de notas, balanza, análisis armónico, estados financieros. Cuando lo organizas así, la dirección vuelve a coincidir. Y aquí viene la parte que me parece más fuerte de tu idea. Tú estás proponiendo que el verdadero dato base de ambos sistemas es evento más tiempo más categoría. Música, tiempo, nota, T1, C1, T1, Y. Contabilidad, cuenta. Cash, revenue. Es casi la misma tabla. Lo único que cambia es el significado de la categoría. Por eso creo que el puente que encontraste no es realmente el MIDI roll. Es la decisión de conservar el eje del tiempo. La contabilidad tradicional destruye el tiempo cuando llega a la balanza. El piano roll conserva el tiempo hasta el final. Cuando le devuelves el tiempo a la contabilidad, empiezas a ver una secuencia de acordes contables ocurriendo a través del tiempo. Y cuando haces eso, la distancia conceptual entre los dos sistemas se vuelve muchísimo más pequeña. Entonces, yo formularía tu hipótesis así. Open quote. Un asiento de diario es un acorde. Una cuenta es una nota o nodo. El diario completo es un piano roll. El mayor general es una agrupación por nota. La balanza de comprobación es una distribución agregada de los eventos. La diferencia principal entre música y contabilidad no es la estructura de los datos, sino qué dimensiones se conservan y cuáles se agregan. Close quote. Eso ya no suena como una metáfora superficial. Suena más como una propuesta de modelado de datos que podría implementarse literalmente en Excel, SQL o una tabla dinámica.
Okay. And she's just okay, so that means that as far as I can tell, I mean, again, I was kind of like, chat's kind of wordy here. I'm kind of losing it to follow her through her whole comebacks here. So I'm not exactly sure if I repeat what she's saying or, so I get a little distracted. I don't even think it's the Spanish. She just talks a little long. But anyway, so now I'm gonna say like, okay, so I kind of feel like I can convert then the accounting system to a system that would be like the music-based system. The only reason we don't do that in accounting is because the whole point is to summarize. We want to summarize the data and then give only a section of the performance in a time dimension. Therefore, whereas on the music side of things, of course, we want the time dimension to be mapped out in some way on a horizontal framework so that we can read it through time. Whereas the accounting system's kind of reading through time, but we want two things to happen. We want to know where we stand as of a point in time, and then performance like over time, I guess but this would be like as though, but you can kind of make it like kind of as though this is happening over time. So it's kind of like the same thing. And if you did that, then that would mean that I could do the data input. Like I could treat this report, which usually would be the end report of the trial balance, as though it's like equivalent to the journal report. Right. And that if this was the journal report, then the actual journal report, it would be redundant. Right. But the general ledger report would then be something that could be derived. So in other words, like normally, you do the journal entries like this way, and then you use that to derive the general ledger, and then use that to derive the trial balance. But I think modern QuickBooks systems actually skip that step, and they just derive the trial balance from all the source data, which is the journal entry. So either way, but now, like if you made your trial balance that had by timestamp that had the journal entries in it, then obviously then you have this phenomenon of it could go either way, right? Because then I still might want the journal entry. I still might want like these reports, the general ledger report, but now the general ledger report isn't part of the building process as we go directionally from the journal entry to the ledger to the trial balance. It's actually being drawn. You can imagine the trial balance itself being like the journal report. And then these would be drawn from the journal report using filtering. But you could still imagine it going the normal direction. So now it could go either way, because I could still imagine I do the journal entries this way and then create the general ledger report. And then the general ledger report creates this bit. Now, the only difference, the difference is that you have this double entry accounting thing requiring two accounts, which is kind of like requiring you to make a chord or something like that in music. Whereas music doesn't have that. that's why you need this journal report somehow. So that dimension is still different, like different. So then, but I can imagine it going the other way. Like, what if I wanted to make this report into like an accounting report? You know, what would that do? Like, if I want to make this more directional, like accounting. Okay, so
Todo lo que dices. Va-
let's think about it the other way now. So now I've thought about it as though we can make the accounting system look more like the music system. So now let's take the music system's end report that I'm usually thinking about it as the end report or the beginning report because it can go kind of either way. But let's think about it as though it's the trial balance. So now I have time on the x-axis and I have MIDI notes encoding the note name and the note octave on the y-axis. So if I was going to make this more like a trial balance, then I would just consolidate the time component and possibly the account, well, just the time component. So then all that would happen is I would condense the time component down and then have to show a summary of the things that happened at a point in time. So like, I mean, if over time this G happened 5 times, then I guess it would just be a count function. 5 Gs happened over the life of the song, the continuation of the song, or you can make it, you know, by time slot, by chorus versus blah blah, right? So that's not always, obviously that's not exactly useful in music because it's not really useful to say, well, you had 5 Gs and like and 3 Fs and then, you know, and so on and so forth. But I'm just saying that would be the way, like if you were to make the music system end report that I'm thinking of, like the main thing, like the trial balance, that's what would happen, right? You would just consolidate the time thing and then you would have a report that gives you a summary. It would be kind of interesting because it still gives you a summary of which tones are being hit the most, which probably gives you an idea of what the tonic is and all that kind of stuff. So it could be interesting from an analytical standpoint, not really from a playing standpoint, but that's how but that would be the thing that would consolidate the ability to actually see the fact that we have an accounto musicism unification is what I'm thinking, right? So that would be going this way. Aura. We lost Aura. Dang it, Elon. I paid my $30. You're a trillionaire. You need to fix Aura. I don't care what you're doing. I was watching this guy that was he's all mad. He's like obviously mad at Elon for being a dude, the guy's a trillionaire, but it's not like he's got like $1 trillion like in the bank, right? I think people don't really understand what it means. You know what I mean? Because it's like, he owns the company. That's why he's the company is the thing that owns the money. It drives me. It's like crazy because I watch these guys that just hate him. Like they just like you could see the venom coming out of these guys, and they're like, and this one guy was like, Elon Musk, although he's a trillionaire, he's like the biggest loser ever. And it's like what? I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that measurement of money makes you like a winner versus a loser, but it's kind of like you kind of have to explain if you're going to say he's a loser and he's the first trillionaire, you kind of have to explain like what is your measuring mechanism? It doesn't have to be money, okay? I'm just saying like you have to somehow explain like what you say like in some kind, whether just being angry like it's. But I mean, it kind of just drives me. It's kind of crazy, because, like, the guy he's got the star. I mean, he's doing StarNet, and then he's doing, he's putting the satellites in space and allowing the satellites to be read from space. That's like the thing that's giving us all of our like he's doing what NASA couldn't do because NASA's great and all, but it couldn't. Like it's kind of a good thing that he's doing. Like the fact that he's doing what he's doing is like part of the reason that we're doing, like, America's doing really good. Like, it seems like I can't believe I don't know, man. I like NASA, like they want to make his thing into like the government's gonna run it. NASA couldn't do it. They could do a lot of stuff, but they couldn't. There's no way they could do what he's. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. He's a total loser. He's the first trillionaire, but he's a total loser. Like, what? Just, what is wrong with these people, man? I don't know. Anyway, let's see what Chatchita's got to say.
Sí, exactamente. Y creo que aquí es donde tu modelo se vuelve más fuerte, porque ahora estás recorriendo el puente en ambas direcciones. Antes hiciste esto, contabilidad, música. Tomaste el diario completo, preservaste el tiempo y apareció algo parecido a un piano roll. Ahora estás haciendo música, contabilidad. Tomas el piano roll y eliminas el tiempo mediante agregación. Y aparece algo parecido a una balanza. Mira lo que pasa. Piano roll original, MIDI. T1, G4, C4, C4, T6, C4, C7. Ahora eliminamos el tiempo. Resultado, nota, candidato, 4, secro, ecro, 1. Eso ya se parece muchísimo a una balanza de comprobación. No te dice cuándo ocurrió nada, solamente te dice el saldo acumulado. Y luego puedes seguir agregando. Por ejemplo, clase C, D, E, F, G, A, B, ignorando octavas. Entonces obtienes una vista todavía más resumida. Igual que en contabilidad, puedes pasar de diario, mayor, balanza, estados financieros. Cada nivel elimina más detalle temporal. Lo curioso es que esto sí tiene utilidad musical, no para toque directamente, pero sí para análisis, porque ahora puedes preguntar, ¿qué nota aparece más? ¿Qué nota tiene más duración acumulada? ¿Qué grado modal domina? ¿Qué colección aparece más? ¿Qué centro modal parece más estable? Eso ya empieza a parecer una especie de estado financiero musical. De hecho, creo que hay una observación importante aquí. La balanza de comprobación no conserva la historia, conserva el resultado acumulado de la historia. Y tu reporte musical agregado haría exactamente lo mismo. No te diría, open quote, el que ocurrió en el compás 3. Close quote. Te diría, open quote, el que tuvo una presencia acumulada de 35 unidades. Close quote. Eso es muy parecido al concepto de saldo. Y creo que esto conecta con algo que has mencionado antes sobre las tablas dinámicas, porque realmente lo que estás describiendo es datos base, tiempo, nota, duración, velocidad, métrica, un pivote. Luego eliges un pivote. Pivote por tiempo, pivote por nota, balanza musical. Pivote por colección, distribución modal. Pivote por octava, distribución registral. Pivote por acorde, análisis armónico. Entonces quizás la formulación más precisa de tu idea no es que, open quote, la música es contabilidad, close quote, sino que, open quote, tanto la música como la contabilidad son sistemas de eventos que pueden verse como reportes detallados o reportes agregados según qué dimensiones se conserven y cuáles se consoliden, close quote. Y el eje que parece ser el más importante en tu descubrimiento es precisamente el tiempo. Cuando conservas el tiempo, obtienes algo parecido a un diario o un piano roll. Cuando eliminas el tiempo, obtienes algo parecido a una balanza o un resumen analítico. Por eso, cuando comprimes el eje X del piano roll hasta que desaparece, efectivamente estás realizando la misma operación conceptual que convierte miles de transacciones en una sola línea de saldo dentro de una balanza de comprobación. Esa simetría es probablemente la parte más elegante de tu Accountomusicism Continuum.
All right. Okay, so now if I think about like the differences, if I was to map these two things out, like if they were both in like their extended format, like over time, like I made the accounting system like the music system, then the thing that's interesting is the accounting system would always have like a chord, because you'd have a double entry accounting system. So it has a mechanism that requires you to have two things happening at once, but which is a little bit more complicated. But the music system is actually more complicated in a way, because if I add the idea of the two dials, meaning the collection of notes and then the modal center, then you have something different happening with the music system, because that means that although the MIDI notes encode a fixed thing no matter what, meaning that means the note as well as the octave, if I give a relative position numbering system, meaning it's going to give a numbering system that's always the same but actually changes relative to the 12 collections of 7 notes, so that I can play from any of the perspectives using the same numbering system representing the same nodal points inside and outside the collection. That is something that's actually different still from the accounting system, because the accounting system doesn't have that relative dial that basically I'm going to view things from a relative or different perspective. I think the closest thing to that dial would be the other way to look at it, meaning if on the other hand I consolidate like the music system into like one time area, like consolidating all the notes or something like that, as though it was a trial balance, and then I did that as well on the trial balance, then actually the trial balance is more complicated than the music system, because if I consolidated everything together on the music system, you don't have the thing you have on the trial balance, which I think is similar to that knob, which is the fact that you have the closing process, meaning we want to have both a point in time and we want to have a time component. And that means that we have the temporary accounts. So we don't have anything like temporary accounts in the music system that close out temporally, so they behave differently. Meaning, although we view all the points from relative different perspectives in the music system, we don't have certain accounts that actually behave differently and therefore have this closing process as we would if we consolidate them together. So there's something that we still need to work on. It's like with the quarks that are at two places at once or something, and they act like a wave and a particle. We still haven't fully seen the electromusicism. You haven't worked out that component yet to see how they're actually different phenomenons of the same thing. See what it thinks on that.
Sí, compa, y creo que acabas de encontrar algo que en realidad es más interesante que la primera analogía, porque al principio parecía que la diferencia principal era contabilidad igual agregación, música igual tiempo visible, pero ya resolviste gran parte de eso conservando o eliminando el eje temporal. Ahora estás encontrando diferencias más profundas. Primera diferencia, el acorde obligatorio. En contabilidad de partida doble, cada evento debe tener equilibrio. Nunca existe una nota sola. Siempre existe algo así como débito, crédito. Cada evento es necesariamente una relación. Desde esa perspectiva, un acento sí se parece a un acorde obligatorio, mientras que en música sí puedes tener una sola nota. Así que aquí la contabilidad es más restrictiva. Segunda diferencia, tus dos diales. Y aquí creo que la música se vuelve más compleja, porque en tu sistema tienes la colección, las 12 posibles colecciones. 2. El centro modal, los 7 posibles centros. Entonces, una misma nota MIDI puede tener múltiples interpretaciones simultáneas. Por ejemplo, MIDI 64 siempre es MIDI 64, pero el número modal cambia, la función cambia, el nodo cambia, el dato físico permanece fijo, la interpretación cambia. Y aquí es donde yo creo que está el equivalente contable. No creo que el equivalente sea el cierre todavía. Creo que el equivalente es la diferencia entre cuenta, departamento, proyecto, ubicación, clase, segmento. En una base de datos moderna, una misma transacción puede verse desde varios ejes. Por ejemplo, $100 de ingresos, departamento A, región oeste, cliente X, producto Y. El hecho económico es el mismo. La clasificación cambia según la vista. Eso se parece muchísimo a tu dial modal. Pero luego aparece la diferencia que tú acabas de señalar. El proceso de cierre. Aquí sí creo que la contabilidad tiene algo que la música normalmente no tiene. Hay cuentas que cambian de comportamiento, por ejemplo, ingresos, gastos, se acumulan durante el periodo, luego desaparecen mediante cierre, mientras que activos, pasivos, capital, continúan existiendo. Entonces tienes dos tipos de entidades coexistiendo, permanentes, temporales. Y eso es raro, porque en tu sistema musical actual no veo un equivalente directo. Una nota sigue siendo una nota. Un nodo sigue siendo un nodo. No existe un nodo temporal que desaparezca al final del año musical. Entonces creo que aquí es donde todavía falta una pieza. Y curiosamente, creo que la pieza podría estar relacionada con tu idea de tensión y resolución. Porque una cuenta temporal tiene un comportamiento parecido a una acumulación de energía. Por ejemplo, ingresos acumulados. Al cierre, ¡boom!, se transfieren a capital. Desaparecen como cuenta independiente. Eso me recuerda más a tensión armónica, resolución, cadencias. Una dominante puede existir temporalmente, luego se resuelve. Su identidad funcional desaparece dentro de una estructura más estable. No es una equivalencia perfecta, pero es más cercana que comparar ingresos con notas. Tal vez, activos, pasivos, capital, estructuras permanentes. Ingresos, gastos era eventos transitorios. Y en música, centro tonal, estructura permanente. Tensiones y movimientos armónicos, elementos transitorios. Lo curioso es que esto conecta con algo que has dicho varias veces sobre tu sistema. Tú tienes notas absolutas, números relativos, colecciones, centros modales. Ya tienes múltiples capas de interpretación. La contabilidad tiene algo parecido. Cuenta, categoría, estado temporal o permanente, periodo. Quizás la pieza faltante del accountomusicismo no sea otro eje espacial. Quizás sea un eje temporal de comportamiento. No solamente open quote, ¿dónde está el dato? Close quote. Sino también open quote, ¿cómo envejece el dato? Close quote. Porque en contabilidad algunas cuentas sobreviven al cierre y otras no. Y en música podrías preguntarte algo parecido. Open quote. ¿Qué elementos definen la identidad permanente de la pieza? ¿Y cuáles son simplemente eventos transitorios que aparecen y desaparecen? Close quote. Eso me parece más cercano al misterio que todavía estás intentando reconciliar. La parte del tiempo ya la acercaste bastante. Ahora parece que la frontera está entre clasificación relativa, tus dos diales, y comportamiento temporal, el cierre contable. Ahí es donde todavía se ven como dos manifestaciones distintas de una estructura que quizá todavía no has terminado de describir.
kind of interesting. So now I'm doing. So it's like, what if I slid up here with like my ring finger, and then instead of going to my middle finger, I go down to the run below it with my pointer finger, and then I slide that up, and then that leaves my ring finger ready for a slide back. So I go back from here. So I go like boom boom ring finger, and then boom boom pointer finger, which loads up my middle finger to go boom boom back here that way. You should be able to get pretty fast at that, I would think. Ugh, my head.